Track Live, we take a look into the recent expulsion of 3 former Purdue football players.
And March Madness is upon us. Sports Director Tommy Barrett catches you up with the action on the court, and we caught up with the team today ahead of their game Thursday in Kansas City.
Today's the first day of spring, and with spring means we'll have warmer temperatures as well as severe weather.
Fast Track Live starts now.
Welcome to Fast Track Live and happy first day of spring. We are coming to you live from the Fast Track Studios in Stewart Center, brought to you by the Brian Lamb School of Communication. I'm Molly Shaughnessy alongside Trevor Peters.
The Hamilton County law firm Moss, Ilmaney and Jeter announced that 3 Purdue football players accused of sexual assault in October 2016 have been expelled from the university. Initially, the players were removed from the team but were allowed to remain in school after an investigation in November from the West Lafayette Police Department brought no criminal charges against the players. However, another investigation from Purdue's administrative board showed the different results, and the 3 of the 4 players were expelled from Purdue. The police report stated that prior to having sex with a few of the players, the 2 women consumed wine, 4 or 5 shots of rum, and smoked marijuana. While they described some of the sex they had with the players as consensual, one woman said she was forced to perform a sexual act on one of the players. One of the players told detectives, quote, "At no time did he think things were non-consensual at all," end quote.
Purdue University President Mitch Daniels announced on Monday that Purdue will hold tuition for the 2018-2019 school year. This will make it the 6th straight year with frozen tuition after 36 years of increases. This ensures that 4 graduating classes will go through Purdue without a tuition increase. In-state students' tuition will stay at $10,002, and out-of-state $28,804, and international will remain at $30,804. Purdue has dropped the 3rd lowest in the Big Ten to room and board costs.
Since Purdue is a land-grant university, the ROTC program has been around since the beginning. 140 undergraduate Purdue students live a normal college life, all while training and preparing for active duty after graduation. Fast Track's Sarah Cohen has the story.
The Purdue University Armory, rebuilt in 1928, is home of the Boilermaker Service men and women, part of the ROTC program. The ROTC program is unlike any other in the nation and holds a special place in the Boilermaker history.
The relationship between Purdue and ROTC is very well compared to some of the other units. It's a very strong relationship.
I'm actually 4th generation Army, so it's always kind of been in the back of my head. And I was born on a military base, and I've just kind of grown up around it.
Student is a student. 75% of their life is like any other student. But we do PT twice a week at 5:45 in the mornings, and we also do drill at 5:45. So 3 days out of the week they're PTing or showing up to the Armory at 5:45, as opposed to other students sleeping in. Outside of that, they do have additional educational course requirements, so their course load is a little bit more difficult than the traditional student. Students here will be completely active. There's no going into the reserve from ROTC. Every single one of them are going to commission into an unrestricted line officer position.
I've always admired people that were in the military, like ever since I was really young, and I've always known that they were a part of something so much bigger than them. So I'm just excited to finally be that person that I've always looked up to.
Sarah Cohen, Fast Track News.
And now, Fast Track Sheena Steffen with your weather update.
Well, today's the first day of spring, and we are off to a rainy start. We had a lot of severe thunderstorms earlier this morning. You might have been woken up by the thunder and lightning. And then later on this afternoon, we had some more storms come into our area. The majority of today will be full of rain. We had a high around 57. We'll see a low around 37 tonight. And then once those storms pass through over the night, Tuesday will be a pretty clear day. We'll have some clouds here and there, a high around 53 and a low around 24. And then Wednesday, mostly sunny skies with a high around 40 and a low around 25. So as we go ahead and look at the surface map, this low pressure system was over our area for the majority of the day, and so over the night, carrying on into tomorrow morning, it'll move to the east, taking the rain and the clouds with it, giving us the Tuesday and Wednesday with mostly sunny skies. As we go ahead and look at tonight's plan, we can see Majority of the temperatures will be in the lower 40s and then continue to drop to the upper 30s. But just cloudy skies for most of the night, no rain, maybe a few showers here and there, but overall pretty clear. And then Thursday, if you're heading out to Kansas City for the game, there's going to be a chance of rain throughout Wednesday through Friday for most of the time, but temperatures in the mid-50s and carrying up into the upper 60s. And then as we go ahead and look at the 7-day forecast, we can see that Monday will have some showers, but the rest of the day is sunny. So that's all I have for you right now. I'll toss it back over to you guys.
And when we come back, we sit down with a Purdue student who took George Orwell's 1984 novel and put his own twist on it. Stay with us.
To stop sexual assault.
To get in the way before it happens.
To get a friend home safe.
And to not blame the victim.
It's on us.
To look out for each other.
To
not look the other way.
It's on us to stand up.
To step in.
To take responsibility.
It's on us, all of us,
to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
For more than a decade, our country has been at war.
And as our service members were trained to wage war,
they were also trained to wage leadership
and loyalty
and teamwork.
They were trained to wage compassion
and problem solving
and understanding.
Our military veterans were trained to wage good.
And as they return home, we have a chance to join them
and wage good for all Americans.
By empowering our veterans to strengthen our communities.
As volunteers and first responders.
Teachers and small business owners.
As neighbors and friends.
The Got Your Six campaign is dedicated to waging good by bridging the civilian-military divide.
And helping returning veterans realize their true potential
as leaders and community assets.
So help us wage good at gotyoursix.org.
I've got your six.
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 The Black Cultural Center provides purposeful, holistic, scholarly programming designed to strengthen understanding of African American heritage. It enhances the academic and social development of the entire Purdue community. Centrally located between the academic and resident communities, the BCC is home to 6 performing ensembles that provide cultural education through song, dance, poetry, theater, dialogues, and visual media. Our research tours provide students with experiential learning that helps them become better global citizens through domestic and international experience.
I'm Daniel Radcliffe, and I believe that reaching out for help is the bravest thing a person can do. If you are struggling and need support, call the Trevor Lifeline at 1-866-488-7386. It's free and confidential, and trained counselors are there to listen 24/7 without judgment. To learn more about the Trevor Project's life-saving work for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or questioning young people, go to thetrevorproject.org.
If you see a teen or adult suddenly collapse, all you need are 2 simple steps. Call 911 and push hard and fast in the center of the chest until help arrives. Just push to the beat of the classic song, Stayin' Alive.
It really works.
You didn't let me finish. I really do know this stuff.
If it wasn't for disco, I'd be dead.
Stayin' alive, stayin' alive.
Welcome back. Well, perhaps in high school or on your own, you may have come across George Orwell's dystopian novel 1984. Well, a Purdue student enjoyed the novel so much that he wrote his own modern spin-off of Orwell's 1984. And joining me now is Mason Engel, a senior here at Purdue, who wrote this short story, soon-to-be novel, 2084. Now, Engel's story has been hovering around the top 3 in its categories on Amazon with a 4.3 out of 5-star rating. So, Mason, thank you so much for joining us today.
Definitely.
We appreciate it. So how did this story kind of come into fruition? What really interested you to make you want to write this?
Well, it came about because the sales of 1984 have been trending due to local or to national political events. So it started off as kind of a marketing ploy to take advantage of that buzz. But as I started writing the story and as I got to know the characters and the plot, I really just started to run with it and to actually believe in what I was doing.
That's incredible. So talk a little bit about the parallels then between 1984 and 2084, and then the differences and the similarities.
Well, first, the premise of the story is that everyone wears something called lenses. It's basically like Google Glass on steroids, but as a contact lens form. And these lenses are manufactured by a company called Newsight, which, if you remember, in 1984 was very similar to Newspeak, which is the totalitarian language of the party.
So then kind of talk a little bit about what's next for the book. Are you, what's next for the book? What's next for you? Is there more coming?
Right. Well, I'm planning on turning the short story into a novel in the next month or so. And then after that, I'll be heading out to New York City to be close to publishers and literary agents and hopefully try and turn this into more of a national phenomenon instead of just a local one.
That's incredible. So what kind of attention has this novel or this short story gotten for you and for where can people go to buy it, things along those lines?
Well, it's gotten as high as, I think, 56 in the free Amazon store and the Kindle store, and it's, like you said, hovered around those top 3 spots with that high ranking, so I'm really happy with it, but I'm excited to take it even further and see what I can do with it.
Awesome. Well, Mason, thank you so much for joining us today. We really, really appreciate it. And if you're interested in finding his story, 2084, you can find it online on Amazon. So we'll toss on over to Tommy. Tommy, there's been a lot going on in sports this past weekend. What do we got?
Yeah, Trevor, thank you so much. The Boilermakers in the NCAA tournament, winning in the round of 64 and in the round of 32, headed to the Sweet 16. The women's basketball team also in the NCAA tournament. They played the number 2 team in the nation. All that and more when we come back right here on Fast Track.
Of all the chat rooms and online social networks, she logs into mine. Our profiles crossed, emoticons ran high. Now the details of my once private life are sprinkled across cyberspace like Moroccan sand. She went public with it all. Phone numbers, mailing addresses, even some old pictures from our days together in Paris. Huh?
Aha! You wish to correspond with my wife online, do you? Well, I've equipped this message with a virus that should destroy your hard drive in mere seconds.
Like I was saying, better make sure you've got your privacy settings in order and think carefully about what you post online, because you just never know who's looking at you, kid. Who told you to stop playing?
We are all Boilermakers, but we're also much more. We're history makers, exploring the farthest reaches of our universe, often when strapped to a rocket. We are hope makers, rebuilders of Haitian cityscapes who ensure they'll now withstand any disaster. We are difference makers, developers of drought-resistant crops that just might end world hunger. The fact is, what we make moves the world forward. We are Purdue, makers all.
One thing you'll see in every society in the globe is music. It's part of what it means to be a human being. You watch these kids, you can just sense this incredible joy and feeling of accomplishment. You just can't imagine that school was at one time silent without any music.
When I sing, it makes me feel happy. Every trouble I have, it just brushes away. Music lets me express myself.
My life would be really boring without music.
It's like, wow, we did that?
In New York City, more than half the schools don't have music at all. And I think this is one of the great tragedies in the past decade, is that it's been going down. Now we're starting to go up. And thanks to education through music, they're really reversing this. And it's the most important thing we could be doing in education right now, is making sure that there's music in these schools. That it costs just $150 per kid for a whole year is like the best money one could ever spend. It's changing these kids' lives and making them better people. It's going to make our city a better place.
We are all Boilermakers, but we're also much more. We're history makers, exploring the farthest reaches of our universe, often when strapped to a rocket. We are hope makers, rebuilders of Haitian cityscapes who ensure they'll now withstand any disaster. We are difference makers, developers of drought-resistant crops that just might end world hunger. The fact is, what we make moves the world forward. We are Purdue, makers all.
Fast Track's Tommy Barrett with your sports update.
Welcome back to Sports. March Madness has been everything as advertised, as we've seen some great basketball as Purdue advanced to the Sweet 16 for the first time since the 2010 season and the 11th time in school history. Caleb Swanigan Biggie has been named a Final Four finalist or Final Four candidate in the Naismith Trophy Award. The Boilermakers look to take on the number 1 seeded Kansas Jayhawks Thursday night in Kansas City for a spot in the Elite Eight, and I'm joined by Connor Hope. Connor, you were actually in Milwaukee covering the first 2 rounds for the Brian Lamb School of Communication.
Yeah, very thankful that the Brian Lamb School of Communication chose me to go up there and cover on Thursday and Saturday. It was a great experience, and it was awesome to see the Boilermakers get to the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2010.
Yeah, let's check out how they did that. You can tell behind me, they had to play the Vermont Catamounts in the round of 64, Connor, and the last time Purdue played Vermont, we can check out how they won, but the Boilermakers did not play too well in the first half. But in the second half, Boilermakers really started to take over, and it's all Vincent Edwards, Connor.
Yeah, Vincent Edwards has been an X factor really all season for Purdue, but especially in the tournament, he's been a lot more aggressive.
Seems like he can make his game go to a next level in the tournament time.
Yeah, absolutely. And right there, the immersion of Carson Edwards and both Caleb Swanigan, they've been huge for the Purdue Boilermakers.
Well, yeah, those 2 are the best players in the Big Ten, especially Caleb Swanigan. Now, in the next round, in the round of 32, they had to take on a tough Iowa State team who won the Big 12 tournament. Now, that was a team that a lot of people thought the Boilermakers weren't going to be able to beat.
Yeah, it was a tough matchup. It's a team that 1 through 5 really is skilled and can handle the ball, and that's a team that's given Purdue problems over the season. You know, you think about Michigan as a team that's really given Purdue some issues. A similar team, you see Deontay Burton there really gave Caleb Swanigan some issues, but Swanigan was really able to get back to him then on the offensive end as well.
And the Boilermakers had a 19-point lead at one point in this game. Iowa State battled back. They took the lead, but they relied on Caleb Swanigan, and some clutch free throws from P.J. Thompson closed the deal for the Boilermakers, and the Boilermakers improve, and they went to the Sweet 16. Let's hear what Matt Painter had to say after the game.
We hung in there, to be able to withstand things after they take the lead. A lot of times when you get up 16, 17 points and someone takes the lead, it's hard to recover. And I thought our guys kept their poise, made some plays, got some key offensive rebounds in that last 3-4 minutes, and made some obviously some key plays.
So Boilermakers are now having to go against the number 1 seed Kansas Jayhawks, the winner of the Big 12, one of the best teams in the country, led by Frank Mason and Josh Jackson.
Yeah, Kansas is another Big 12 team. Plays similar style to Iowa State. They really want to spread the floor out and use their dynamic guard play in order to get to the rim. And unlike Iowa State, they don't want to shoot as many jump shots. Iowa State was pretty content to take a lot of jump shots, which helped Purdue defensively. But Frank Mason, Deontay Graham, those are 2 guys with lead guards that can get to the rim, and it'll be tough for Purdue because they don't have a ton of shot blocking.
And it's a Sweet 16 matchup that features 2 of the Naismith finalists, with Caleb Swanigan here at Purdue and Frank Mason in Kansas. How difficult is it going to be to guard Frank Mason?
Well, Frank Mason is a dynamic guard, and it'll be P.J. Thompson's probably his toughest guard all season. I think he kind of compared him to Derek Walton Jr. in his style of play and build. But on the other end, Caleb Swanigan is a guy, he's been an absolute stud all season for Purdue, and Kansas doesn't really have the depth at the front line to handle both him and Haas. So it's going to be kind of a battle of can Purdue contain Frank Mason and can Kansas contain Biggie.
And the Boilermakers, they have the probably toughest test they've played this year. But guys, IU beat this team, and IU's not in the tournament. I always like to talk about IU's struggles.
Yeah, you know me. Anytime we can talk about IU's struggles, I'm good for it.
And once again, we will be at the tournament. Dakota Simon and I will be driving to Kansas City on Thursday for all your coverage that you need. Right here on Fast Track Live, we will be covering both the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight, and hopefully we can make that Final Four to Phoenix. So Connor, thanks for joining us here on Fast Track Live, and appreciate you going to Milwaukee.
Yeah, thank you.
So the Boilermakers now are the next team in the Sweet 16. We'll see how that leads out. But the women's basketball team as well. And they hosted one of the best teams in the NCAA with the women's basketball team hosting Notre Dame in the first round of the tournament, or the second round of the tournament, in the round of 32. They defeated Wisconsin Green Bay in the round of 64, but the Boilermakers rallied from a 16-point half deficit and to lose to the Fighting Irish in overtime, but they fell short of the Sweet 16 and finished their year 23-13. Right here on ESPN, the game last night, the Boilermakers were struggling, and that's a big injury from Turner from Notre Dame as she was helped off the floor. The Boilermakers trailed by 14 at that point, but they came all the way back. They actually had a shot to win the game, but Morrissetti couldn't get it to go. So tied at 74 after 4 quarters. We'll head to overtime. And the Boilermakers just could not hang with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish on their home floor in the second round of the tournament. It was just too much as Bridget Perry and Ashley Morrissetti in their senior season with a loss in the round of 32 to Notre Dame. Tough matchup for them, but we will continue to follow them in the rest of their recruiting trails as they are back on path. Purdue's run in the NCAA Wrestling Championships also came to a close during Friday's morning session inside the Scott Trade Center. Alex Griffin won his first match of the season, but was defeated in the third round of the Wrestlebacks at 157 pounds. Christian Bruner was forced to bow out at the 197s after 2 losses in the tournament. Griffin was able to defeat Russell Parsons from Army, but could not overcome Virginia Tech's Sal Manastrani. Griffin finished his Purdue career as one of the best ever to step on the mats, finishing with a 71 career victories in his 4 years. Here, Bruner, just as a freshman, he finished with 24 wins, which was second on the team, became the first ever freshman to qualify for the NCAAs. The Purdue baseball team traveled on their spring break trip to California, their longest winning streak since 2015, with a series sweep against Santa Clara over the weekend. The series sweep included a doubleheader Saturday where the Boilermakers overcame deficits in both of their contests to come back in their victories. Purdue improves to 10-8, matching their last year win total already. The Boilermakers will also be in action on Wednesday at 3 p.m. against Ball State. Aloha, that's what the Boilermakers from the softball team made when they traveled to Hawaii, and they enjoyed a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity as they had 7 games in 5 days against Marist, Harvard, UConn, and Hawaii. Purdue started the trip off by winning 3 of their first 3 games, and then they struggled to score runs in the last 4 in the Rainbow Wahine Classic, falling to 3-4 on the weekend. Boilermakers actually return home to start their Big Ten season at the Bittinger Stadium for their first home series of the year, as they will play Michigan State starting on Friday, game at 6 o'clock. The Purdue women's golf team picked up their second tournament title of the season on Sunday, topping the field at the 3M Augusta Invitational just weeks before the legendary Masters tournament, hosted by the Jaguars at Forest Hills Golf Club over the weekend. The Boilermakers shot 6 over 294 Sunday, led by final rounds of even par from senior August Kim and sophomore Kova San Juan. August Kim finished third in the tournament, followed by Kova San Juan at 5th, and a great performance by Marta Martin finishing 24th. Congratulations, Purdue Boilermakers. So we'll have more from Fast Track Live when we come back right here on Comcast Channel 5.
I shared everything with my sweetheart. Milkshakes, sunsets, movie nights. I even shared my password. After we broke up, she logged onto my account, made countless online purchases, and copied some embarrassing pictures. I'll never fall in love again.
One thing you'll see in every society in the globe is music. It's part of what it means to be a human being. You watch these kids, you can just sense this incredible joy and feeling of accomplishment. You just can't imagine that school was at one time silent without any music.
When I sing, it makes me feel happy. Every trouble I have, it just brushes away. Music lets me express myself.
My life would be really boring without music.
It's like, wow, we did that?
In New York City, more than half the schools don't have music at all. And I think this is one of the great tragedies in the past decade is that it's been going down. Now we're starting to go up. And thanks to Education Through Music, they're really reversing this. And it's the most important thing we could be doing in education right now is making sure that there's music in these schools. That costs just $150 per kid for a whole year is like the best money one could ever spend. It's changing these kids' lives and making them better people. It's going to make our city a better place.
Visit afsp.org today. If you've been affected by suicide, you're not alone. Suicide is a leading cause of death that affects millions each year. In most cases, it happens when stressful life events overload the coping abilities of someone suffering from a mental health condition. And the most common condition associated with suicide is depression, an illness that goes undiagnosed or untreated far too often. But the research is clear. Suicide is preventable if we work together. The American Foundation for Suicide Prevention has set a bold goal to reduce the annual suicide rate 20% by 2025. We can save tens of thousands of lives, but we need the help of everyday heroes like you. People have suffered in silence for too long, and too many families have had to weather their losses alone. You can change that. We need you to be the voice for suicide prevention because talk saves lives. Learn how you can fight suicide. Visit afsp.org today.
I'm Daniel Radcliffe, and I believe that reaching out for help is the bravest thing a person can do. If you are struggling and need support, call the Trevor Lifeline at 1-866-488-7386. It's free and confidential, and trained counsellors are there to listen 24/7 without judgment. To learn more about the Trevor Project's life-saving work for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender or questioning young people, go to thetrevorproject.org.
And now, Fast Track Sheena Steffen with your weather update.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, there will be rain throughout tonight, and then tomorrow and carry on to Wednesday and Thursday, we'll see pretty clear skies. If you're going to Kansas City, we'll see some rain during the Purdue game, but then carry on into the weekend, we should see mostly clear skies until Saturday and Sunday, and then we'll start seeing more of those rain showers come back into our area. So as we go ahead and look at the lows tonight, we can see the majority of them are in the mid-30s, and then down in Indianapolis, we'll see a low around 41. And then tomorrow's highs, we'll see temperatures in the mid-50s, 53 and 55 up by Warsaw and Fort Wayne. In our area, a high around 54, and then down south, 58 in Indy. As we go ahead and look at the weekend forecast, like I said, we will start seeing more of those showers Saturday and Sunday. Thursday and Friday, for the most part, though, will be pretty clear here. Temperature around 65 on Friday, and then carry on into Saturday and Sunday. Highs in the 60s to lower 50s. So that's all I have for the weekend forecast. As I go ahead and look at the 7-day, you can see again mostly clear skies for the majority of the week. Back to you guys.
Purdue University is home to many traditions, and the Union Rack and Roll in the basement of the Purdue Memorial Union is one of them. A popular class amongst students at Purdue happens to be bowling. Our own Dakota Simon hit a strike with this story. Take a look.
The Rack and Roll in the Purdue Memorial Union is a unique find for students on campus for many reasons. The most popular of them all, though, is the bowling alley.
We're one of the few unions that still have bowling centers. Back in the 70s, there were 400 college unions that had bowling centers. Now it's less than 100.
This one, it just has like a really homey atmosphere being on campus and just seeing like all the student life.
Having a bowling alley in the Union provides a lot more than just recreational fun. You can earn a credit by taking a bowling class with Doug.
A lot of people take the class because it's a good stress relief. I mean, there's plenty of studies showing the stress relief of physical activity. The other thing is that it gives them an opportunity to learn a sport they probably don't get formal education.
Participating in the bowling class can place your part in one of the busiest bowling alleys in the Midwest.
We are one of the highest lineage centers in the entire Midwest. If you take the number of games per year divided by 10 lanes, the bowling classes, we average almost 15,000 games per semester. All the efficiency of the lanes are making things run much smoother.
The bowling alley in the Union Rack and Roll is one of Purdue's longest lasting traditions. To discover more about this hidden treasure, head to the basement of the Union today. Dakota Simon, Fast Track Sports.
That's it for this week's edition of Fast Track Live. I'm Trevor Peters.
And I'm Molly Shaughnessy. For more up-to-date info on Purdue weather, sports, and more, make sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter throughout the week. Good luck to Boilers against Kansas on Thursday. Have a good night, and see you next Monday.